Okay.
Looking at the evidence, however, investigators are convinced that Chris is a monster, a rare and specific form of killer known as a family annihilator.
Family annihilators in general do tend to be male. They are most often in their 30s. These things often happen at the end of summer. They often happen on weekends. There are a number of correlations between when and who commits family annihilation. As far as why, that may go back to the stressors, finances being one, affairs being another one.
For most family annihilators, it is an event that is thought out, it's planned, it's organized, it's done, if not days, weeks in advance. I think in this 5-week period where Shanann and the girls go to visit her parents in North Carolina is what solidifies this in Chris's mind. This is what's got to happen because he's spending all of his time with Nicole. And it's like, this is the relationship I want.
He had no use for Shanann anymore once he had found a new woman. In the narcissism world, we use the word discard for when the narcissist is done with someone who they no longer have value from. This was a literal discard in every sense of the word.
After Shanann and the kids returned from their summer trip to North Carolina, Shanann soon left again for Arizona on a work trip. She could tell that things weren't right with Chris, so she gave him a note to read while she was away.
Shanann poured her heart out to Chris, telling him how much she loved him, how much she wanted to make the marriage work, everything she loved about him, what she was willing to do. You know, even though she didn't like his family, she said, I'm willing to work with them for you. She was trying to do everything to save her marriage.
In the text messages she sent to her friends before she passed, you know, she was realizing that maybe I was hard on Chris. Maybe, you know, I'm such a go-getter and a perfectionist. And she made things, you know, difficult for herself, trying to achieve so much.
She got self-help books. She tried to persuade Chris to go to counseling, and those are called pro-social solutions. The difference between a psychopath and, you know, a normal person is that psychopaths turn to antisocial solutions to their problems. So an antisocial solution to a problem like marital problems would be murdering your family.
Investigators believe it was while Shanann was away on her work trip in Arizona that Chris put his plan into action.
He was plotting, you know, over the weekend exactly what he was going to do. He knew that he was going to kill his wife, and so he didn't care anymore. And so in a lot of ways, I believe that Chris was toying with Shanann on purpose.
The investigators confirmed their suspicion when they interview Shanann's best friend, Nicole Atkinson.
Chris said he went to a Rockies game on Saturday night, so got a babysitter for the girls. And Shanann checked her bank statement and he went out to dinner, which that's not off. The total was $60-some.
Do you remember where that was?
The Lazy Dog in Westminster. It's like a bar and grill type.
So you'd have to work at it to get $65.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about. So then she gets off the phone with him or whatever. When we come back, she's upset and she was like, what did he spend that on? And I don't know. And she looked up the menu and he said he had salmon and a beer. And she's like, that's only like $30. Where's the other $40?
Chris just swiped his card, knowing Shanann would see it. She was on top of all their finances. He calculated this. He knew what he was doing.
On the night of August 12th, 2018, the Watts' home security log shows Chris returning home at 10:30 p.m. Shanann, still in Arizona, is now all but convinced something's wrong.
I just thought over the weekend wasn't eating normally or drinking, and we kept trying to force it on her.
At the airport, Shanann finally reveals her mounting frustrations to her friend.
She's like, will you watch my stuff? I'm gonna go talk to Chris real quick. And she came back and it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. I was like, are you okay? And she's like, no. She's like, I haven't talked to him all day or hardly at all this weekend. And he wants to work out. He started working out while he was on the phone with me. So I just let him go.
Throughout the trip, Shanann continues to try to make contact.
I dropped her off around 1:45. And then I went home and I didn't talk to her again that night.
She's walking into what her safe haven was with the person that she believed would protect her and her children the most. And she was walking literally into her death.
After weeks apart, Chris and Shanann are finally home together. But the night soon takes a frightening turn.
Chris is saying, well, I told Shanann I didn't want to be married anymore, that I had this girlfriend and I wanted a new life. And then Shanann strangled the girls. So this doesn't even make sense behaviorally. You tell your wife that you're having an affair, so she goes and kills the kids. Nobody believes this.
Now investigators want to know, will Chris ever admit what really happened? And where are his pregnant wife and their 2 daughters' bodies?